Everybody needs a friend like Susie, where you can be like, hey, I need to hide a body. And the only question they ask, where? Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe for the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The fourth episode of Margo's Got Money Troubles is here. It is called Buddies. I will refer to this episode as the Jinx and Margo establishing relationship episode. That's what this episode is. Very much the father and daughter episode of the season. I do want to take a special shout out. I saw it at the very beginning. Kate Heron or Heron, don't want to butcher your last name, was the director of this episode. She's the showrunner and executive producer of the first season of Loki. I know she's going on to do The Sims. She did an episode of Last of Us. She's starting to grow to be this bigger than life. She's going to be the next director to sort of watch. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, cool, we got one. So this episode, Buddies, picks up with Margo fully diving into the world of OnlyFans. She is using this also as a vehicle to sort of test out and establish her writing, because she's using very alliterative terms to describe the male genitalia per their request. And so she's using that as Pokemon references and coming up with these great words to make it feel like she's actually getting to use at least some of her writing brain in addition to using her sexuality to make some money. But she runs into a situation where she's like, hey, it's coming. I'm getting some money, but it's not growing fast enough for the amount of money that I need to provide for my kid. I need this to move quicker than it is. So she reaches out to Susie and is like, Susie, I need help. I need something to help boost my online presence. I need better photos, because right now she's just taking sort of selfies of herself. And in Susie's room, she got a whole setup because she's cosplaying. She's got a ring light. She's doing it. So she decides, she's like, hey, I'll help you out. And Susie just, without hesitation, like, cool, take off your top. Let's start taking some photos. Like, Susie's about that life. Susie's a friend that you want to have. She is willing to help Margo do whatever it is she needs to do to help her sustain and make some money. Of all the people in the show, Susie is the least judgmental, including the old two roommates. She was the one like, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's give her some chances. Like, you want a Susie in your corner if you're going through some shit. But in Margo's attempt to try to keep growing, try to keep grabbing that brass ring and move up, one of the ways that she looks to add more people to her channel, her OnlyFans, is to collaborate with like-minded people. So she looks at Wang Mangler, who was somebody she had looked at before she even sort of created her account, and she saw the sheer amount of viewers and fans that she had. It's like, yo, I want to collaborate with this person. Like, that she's the person that I sort of want to meet up with. So she reaches out via like a DM message, and she even gives a tip, $50, just like, hey, I'm serious about this. Can we collaborate? Can we do some stuff? She finds out that she's local, and the response that she gets is just a ha, which triggers Margo to no end. It's clear that these millets, all of them, even including Cheyenne, even though she's not a blood millet, they all have an impulse issue. But she reaches out and kind of curses Wang Mangler out, to which Wang Mangler then gives her address. Under most circumstances, that would be the end of it. Like, cool, we're not going to do this. But not Margo. She's like, no, let me go put my clothes on. Let me go get ready, and let me go see this girl and tell her, like, I don't appreciate the disrespect that she just gave me. Now, Susie is automatically like, this doesn't seem like the best idea. Like, you don't know what you're getting into. You don't know how dangerous these people are. Perhaps we don't do that. And Margo's like, no, they want me to come. They disrespected me. I'm going to go tell them how I feel about this. While this is all happening, Jinx is sort of getting more separation from his old family. They have mailed off all his belongings via postal mail. And so he's starting to receive all of those things. And he's also noticing that Margo and Susie are spending more time in each other's rooms than previously when he first arrived there. He just clocks it. He doesn't think anything of it. But he's like, okay, got it. So Margo goes to the house, the address that was given to her from Wang Mangler, knocks on it, and Wang Mangler opens the door and just closes it on her. I'm like, nah, we don't need to talk. But then the other content creator that is there, Succulent Rose, she's way more accepting and understanding of Margo and kind of sees her and is like, oh my God, you're beautiful and you're young. To which we start learning that, hey, there may be a beneficial workaround that they can have, even though the way that they got here wasn't the best. But you can tell that Succulent Rose is way more protective of like the youthful and young flowers, because they've all apparently conversations have already occurred between she and Wang Mengler to be like, hey, we're getting a little bit stale. We might need to inject some new blood, some new life into what we have doing here. And they're all kind of like, well, this might work. But they also are saying, Margo, you're really green. And to which Margo's like, I'm not green. And they're like, you walked into a home, came to an address where you don't know anybody. You don't know what we have. We could be human traffickers. And you probably didn't leave a pin for anybody to find out where you are, which she did not. She is clearly going by impulses that these millets do and not really thinking everything through. And unfortunately, could have gone really left. But luckily, Wang Mengler and Succulent Rose are on the up and up for what they want. And they want a young, fresh person to sort of intertwine into their system. But all in all, they agree to have a trial run with Margo. Like they're like, okay, cool, we'll test it out, see what we can do. She sells them on the fact that she's a writer. She's like, look, I can benefit you guys a lot because I write. I've been told that I write really well by the person who got me in the situation that I'm in. I've been told by someone. And so she sells herself and like, hey, I can come up with new ideas while you guys have the reach, the followers, the viewers already. I can inject some new blood into you by me being young and me being a new eye and new ear to sort of write things for you guys. While Margo's out gallivanting, trying to threaten people, she has Jinx watch Bodhi. And while he's watching Bodhi, Cheyenne comes over because this is supposed to be a day that they were going to do, they being Margo and Cheyenne, we're going to do cake testing. She's not there. And so Jinx sort of offers his services. Cheyenne doesn't want to taste by herself or to even taste at all because she's in wedding prep mode. And Jinx like, well, look, I have the body and palate to go ahead and take some cake. So he eats the cake and he gives Bodhi to Cheyenne, who is just not comfortable with the baby at all. She's clearly, every time Bodhi goes to Cheyenne, he just starts crying. To which Jinx gives her the idea or the tip of being like, hey, just soften your knees a little bit, just bend just a little bit, and then take them. It sort of gives them the needed comfort and level of just always sort of being comforted and rocked all the time. To which Cheyenne gives him the death stare, like the look of it, like, you've had this tip this whole time? And Jinx like, well, what's going on? It's like, you've had this tip this whole time. I could have used this because you just walked out on me and Margo when we were a baby. Like, where was this useful information back in the day? And then she just says, like, I can't stand you because you were gone. You don't know her at all. And she doesn't know you. But yet the two of you always get back to each other and just feel safe. You feel at home with each other. And it pisses me off. So that sets Jinx off a bit, and Jinx gets prepped to go to a wrestling expo, something he's chosen to never do before because it may bring up bad memories. He just felt like he didn't sort of belong, so he's never gone. But he's going now, and he offers to have Margo come along with him. So the idea, the seed of we don't really know each other, and you've never really been in my world, I've never been in your world, hits him, and he's like, well, hey, how about you come with me to this? And she agrees. She's like, okay, yeah, I'm okay, I'll do that. But before they go, the next day, that night, Margo is taking some more photos with Susie in her room, and Jinx just barges in and sees her in various stages of undress with fairy wings and mess happening while Susie's taking photos. And she covers up and screams, he screams and leaves the door, and then they have to have a conversation. And at the table, he's immediately thinking that, okay, this is fine. I should have thought something when you guys kept ending up in each other's rooms that, yeah, you guys might be in a relationship together. That's where his brain naturally goes to. And then Margo has to come clean. It's like, no, that's not it. That is not it at all. And they have a really tough conversation here. Margo comes clean and just like, look, no, here's what's happened. I'm doing OnlyFans, to which Jinx doesn't respond positively. He kind of admonishes her and speaks down on her and kind of calls her less than honorable, not less, kind of calls her, he calls her less than honorable. And to which she responds like, look, I am providing for my son. No one else is helping me. No one else is here to help me. This is what I am doing. And if you want to stand on your moral high horse to judge me to do so, fine. But this is who I am. This is what I am doing. And there sort of comes a comment when he throws at her like, "This isn't you," and she's like, "Who am I? Who am I specifically?" And comes back to the fact that earlier they don't know each other. The weird comment to throw out. But she also throws back like, "Look, my mom worked at Hooters and you were a professional wrestler. This sort of is in the DNA of what I do and what sort of is implanted in me. You shouldn't really be this sort of judgmental in this moment." Meanwhile, Cheyenne is doing more wedding prep stuff, and Kenny gets in the car with her, and she sort of just goes on and be like, "Hey, I like you. I like how people see me with you. I like how I feel safe with you." But she's saying all of these things in a term, and she keeps using the word like. She's saying all of these terms of like and things that Kenny does for her, but not how Kenny makes her feel. And it's clear that she is in like with Kenny because of all the things she provides for the optics of her and her life, but she doesn't feel the passion or love for her. And kind of she got a little bit of that. Anytime she keeps being around Jinx, I think a little bit of that comes back. She calls Margo to sort of chat about like, "Hey, I don't know what's happening or what's going on." To which Margo's like, "I don't have the time to talk right now. I'm at a wrestling convention with Dad," and she's like, "Wait, what? Why are you there?" Which is probably going to hurt her more. Like, you're now hanging out with your dad and learning more about him. That's not going to sit well with her. She's going to get more in her head. But she's there at the convention. Um, Jinx comes with the tickets and like, "Hey, about last night, can we just forget about that for tonight, for today, and let's just go and enter into my world?" And she gets to see her dad kind of hanging out with the wrestling folks. People are taking photos with him, like wanting to be around him. He runs into an old wrestling colleague named Lacey, played by Nicole Kidman, who, after falling out of wrestling a little bit, went to go form a law practice. So she has a law firm in Costa Mesa, which I feel like is going to come back to us at some. You don't get Nicole Kidman, so it's going to come back. That law piece is going to come back to us at some point in time. They don't drop that breadcrumb for nothing. But then they put on a little show for the fans. There's a little wrestling ring inside the expo. She gets in the ring. Jericho is there. If you're a WWE, now AEW fan, Chris Jericho is present. And so they clearly show a bond with each other and put on a little bit of performance. Margo gets to see her dad in his element. He's putting on a full show. And then he takes a bump, which means he falls on his back. He takes a bump on the mat and his back spasms. And he can't move. And so he's then has to be put in the back. You can see that Margo sort of realizes that he's no longer putting on a show and is in pain. And the next thing we see is him in the back. He's fine. He can move. He's just, his back just seized up for a moment. He's had spinal surgery, so that's going to happen from time to time. Like, I probably should not have been taking a bump, but he's just in the moment, impulsive, like the Millets tend to be, and just jumped in without really thinking about what the ramifications or what would be on his health. But while in the back, he asked Margo for two things. Well, he basically says two things. One, when we go to urgent care, please don't mention my drug history, because they're going to start treating me like a criminal and treat me differently, and I'm in a place where I don't want to have that. And Margo's like, "Okay, copy that, got you that." The second thing he says, I want to apologize for judging you. Like, I had no real reason to judge you. I just immediately dove into parental mode and wanted to protect you, and not thinking of the more sound thing that you were doing, and that you're basically following the footsteps of me. Like, you're putting on a show. You're just like Lacey and I, where we go on and we perform for these people. You're going on the OnlyFans performing and giving a caricature of those folks. So it's really no difference than Lacey or Jinx and then she gives her names like the Hungry Ghost, like perfect. I love it. The Hungry Ghost. Like, they're all one. They're doing something as a service to others. And he says that he loves her. And he's like, I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you through all of this, and I'll be by your side throughout all of this. It's interesting because I think this is the thing that sort of is going to separate people who are, I won't say prudes, but are anti pro sex workers versus pro sex workers. Is that it is a show. They are putting on a service for people, and like where you fall on that moral compass is going to decide how you feel about all of this and what Margot's doing. He opened up to her and said he loved her. And then in that, Margo reciprocated some information. Even though she signed an NDA, she gave the information that Mark, the college professor, was a teacher, and that's who put her in the predicament that she was in. And he doesn't, you can tell that he is furious. She also mentions that she got paid, signed an NDA, and got paid. So basically, shut up. You can tell that he's furious, though. He is heated, but he went off the night before and he just said, like, I'm going to be with you through this. So he kind of swallows that and internalizes it and lets it be. So the next day, Margo goes to hang out with Wang and Succulent to start taking making the content. But before she does that, she calls Susie, who's watching both Bodhi and Jinx, and just says, hey, how's my dad? And is he okay? Susie's like, yeah, he went for a walk, but he's good. I immediately knew I knew where he was going before we get there, and we will get there. But I'm like, oh yeah, I know where he's going. She's like, okay. Doesn't really dawn on her, but she's like, got it. And then she hangs up and she goes to go talk to Wang and Succulent Rose, who prepare her for the world that is about to blow up on her. She's doing OnlyFans, but it's in a small sector of the community. It's not that large. But joining these two, it's going to blow up and blow up fast. And so they're just trying to prep her for this. It's like, look, go create some social media accounts, but do so as the Hungry Ghost, not as Margo. Keep them very separate because we don't want a situation where you get doxxed, because it can and will happen. They also tell her, like, hey, you need to get a thick skin. Make sure you have a thick skin because you're going to start getting some death threats and some death messages and some things to do with your genitalia and stuff that is just going to be a lot. And you need to be a way to have a thick skin or a method to cope with it, because what's about to happen is about to be massive for you. And they also have her sign an NDA. The second NDA that she's just signing willy-nilly. She needs a lawyer. Like, this girl is just signing stuff left and right. But she signs the NDA, and they're more so saying, because, hey, this is about to get massive for you, and we don't want you to all of a sudden change your mind and lose it and come at us. So this is more of a protection for that. One funny bit here, and I just want to bring it up because it's just how the creators work, and then just how sort of tongue-in-cheek this show can be sometimes, is they ask her, has she done a photo of her taco, which is her lady parts down below. She's like, no, I haven't done any of that. And they're like, their minds are blown, like, oh, we got a gold mine here. Like, we can do some magical stuff about the reveal of her taco, because they're like, we just let ours just go. We just put it out there and didn't really have a game plan for it. But you were still holding on to it. And they come up with like grudge things, and it's very extensive, and to the point where they realize, like, you know what? Your taco. You can do your work, your thing, your rights. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Mario's like, cool, whatever. We can hash it out. We can talk about it. Let's discuss. And they sort of come together. And I feel like the next time that we see them, everything's going to be just blown up. They're going to put her in front. She's going to come up with stories, and it's going to blow up immensely. On the flip of that walk that Jinx went to go take, you guessed it, he went to go see Mark. And he just introduces himself as his full name, last name Millet. And then he's like, I am a Millet of a father who would probably have a daughter of the same name, Millet. And it immediately clicks to Mark, like, oh, because I don't know if he gets it just by that name until he then puts the father-daughter piece into it. But he's handshaking. He's giving him a handshake. And it's a very, very firm handshake. And he's basically reiterating the fact, like, you would be a compassionate father if you were to have a kid. And it's a threat. And he's holding his hand, and Mark's like, you're hurting me, to the point that we didn't hear bones crack, and it goes to dark. Again, Jinx being very impulsive, but clearly did not understand or hear the fact that Margo told him that she signed an NDA. So you going to this office is now violating that NDA. So whatever money was being given to Bodhi kind of is null and void now. which now leads to the fact that this OnlyFans thing might have to blow up anymore, even more, because she's going to have to put away seed money, or the money that was going to go to Bodhi needs to now, was going to go to Bodhi, now needs to come from Margo and her quest on OnlyFans. But yeah, that was the episode. It's a good episode of seeing a father-daughter and him trying to, in real time, make up for lost times of being a dad and not being around, and Cheyenne sort of jolt to the system. Like, she feels safe with you, and I don't know why, because neither of you know each other, and him going out of his way to sort of learn her and be there for her in this time of whatever it is she's figuring out about how to make money and do OnlyFans. He's like, look, I get it now. It's a show, just like I'm a show. I'm here for you. Cheyenne will not be as open to that because of the world that she is liking and comfortable with and trying to build over there in the church. This is not going to go well with those Bible beaters at all. And so it will be interesting to see, once she blows up, who's the first person that gets wind of it and how it spreads like wildfire, because she's not hiding her face. And while she's going as the hungry ghost, there's going to be someone that recognizes her. And when that happens, all bets are off. What did you guys think about the 4th episode of Margo's Got Money Troubles? I love the show, by the way. If you can't tell, whenever I have barely looked at my notes. This is one of those ones where I'm like, I'm just in. I just like this episode. But what did you guys think about the 4th episode called Buddies? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at Hollywood80i. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.